Hi, I'm Ellen Langer. It's nice to be speaking to all of you again. I thought I'd bring you up to date on some of our newest research, but first, just give you a quick overview of what we talked about the last time. I study mindfulness, and it's mindfulness without meditation. It's a very simple process of actively noticing new things. As you actively notice new things, that puts you in the present. It's engaging, the neurons are firing, and it turns out that the simple process of active noticing is literally and figuratively enlivening. Now, we've been doing lots of different kind of research, but two that I want to describe today briefly. One is some work on mindful contagion. It turns out that when we make one person more mindful, their mindfulness increases the mindfulness of the people around them. And so what that means is that your mindfulness can affect your family, your work environment, anybody you happen to be interacting with. And the more people you teach to be mindful, the greater the total effect will be. The other research that I wanted to tell you about, I talked a little about when I presented. It's on attention to symptom variability. And that's just a fancy way of saying being mindful. That if you know, right now, when you are diagnosed with a dread disease, most people only notice when the symptoms stay the same or get worse. But nothing only stays the same or goes in one direction. So there are always very small improvements. And if you tune into those improvements and ask, why now am I better than I was before? And you go for a search for the answer, first of all, that search is mindful and is good for your health. Second, you're much more likely to find how to make it better, why it's better right now, than if you never asked the question. Now, we did this with people who have multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, mild cognitive impairment, chronic stress, arthritis, lots of diseases, disorders. And what we find across the board is that the simple process of noticing the changes leads to relief, and the symptoms get better. Right? Now, we've also been doing this with people who are caretakers, which is what most of you probably are experiencing or will experience over the course of your life. That as caretakers, it's enormously stressful. And we assume that the person's symptoms are just steady state. It's very hard to stay interested, to stay present. But as I just said, symptoms don't stay still. So what we do is we teach caretakers to pay attention to the change in the symptoms of the person for whom they're caring. And what happens is not only does the relationship between caretaker and the person being cared for improve, the health of the caretaker also shows some benefit. Right? So we've done this with people with mild cognitive impairment, severe traumatic brain injury, and ALS. All in all, the studies over 40 years make clear that mindfulness improves our relationship, it improves our health, it improves our well-being. And given that it's so easy, just noticing, there's no reason that I can see for anybody not to embrace all this information and starting right now, be as mindful as you possibly can. I got a call a while ago from this student at a business school asking if mindfulness was just a fad. I was taken aback, and I said, after I thought for a moment, I said, if every morning you get up and you make toast and you burn the toast, and someone comes along and shows you, you just have to change the style ever so slightly, so the toast then never burns, are you going to go back to eating burnt toast? For most of us, probably not. It's not a fad, it's a way of being. Again, it's easy, it's fun, and it's good for us. Bye now.